Right, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome back to the show after many, many years. It's Suzi Ruffell. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you. It's
Good.
lovely to have you back.
Thank you. It's nice
Uh,
to be back.
it's been a massive ride for you. Like since we spoke, I think it was probably like 3 or 4 years ago.
hmm
Um, you've just gone like that. It's just gone insane for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got busy. I mean, I think so. It's very nice for you to say that. I think that sometimes when you're in it, you don't really notice it because it just feels like sort of incrementally thing you do, slightly more telly, and then you might do something that's a bit bigger, like Live at the Apollo, or something like a chat show, like Jonathan Ross, which makes
Yeah.
you go, "Wow, this is huge." But then in between all those things, you're just going out and doing gigs and your shows and playing to, I could be on tour and playing to hundreds of people, and then like when I'm working up new material, I'll go down to a little comedy club near me in London and play to 30 people, and you don't really realize how I don't know, I guess that you are sort of having a bit of a trajectory, which is lovely. And then coming down to Portsmouth, my hometown, we put last time I came, yeah, it would have been about 3 or 4 years ago, which would have been the last time I spoke to you. And I did a show on South Parade Pier. And then this time we thought, well, I'd love to do one of the theatres. And we thought, oh, let's put on sale new Theatre Royal. This was pre-pandemic. And I thought, you know what? I bet I could probably still sell out the stalls. And that would still be really good. And we can just sort of close off the dress and the upper circle. And now the whole place is almost sold out. I think we've got a couple of rows left at the top of the upper circle. And then when you see that, then you're like, wow, that's really cool that many people want to come and see me in my hometown. That's loads.
Yeah. I think because the last time I saw you was actually only a few weeks ago. You came down to Horndean for Comedy All Star.
Yeah.
That was a great
I
show.
was Oh, thanks so much. That was really fun. It was a really nice gig. My mum came with me. It was very sweet. She was standing at the back. I was basically the whole time just looking at her reaction, making sure that she was laughing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of stories which I would go into, but I'm not sure if they're going to be using them in your show or not. So I don't want to go too far into them.
I
But the tipping
probably
point
will
one
be, to be honest.
is
There'll be a
amazing.
lot of crossover of
Yeah,
those two gigs.
the tipping point story is amazing.
Oh, thanks. I mean, the Tipping Point story I do tell in the show, but basically, listen, what happened is I went on Tipping Point, the TV show hosted by Ben Shepherd, and I basically had an absolute nightmare. And it was, yeah, I did not win all the money for charity. And I had what Ben Shepherd described as the worst performance he's ever seen on Tipping Point. But he is a lovely man. And I
Yeah,
did get to go on Tipping Point. But
and,
yeah, it's fun.
yeah, and tipping point is one of the best worst quiz shows on TV.
Oh my God, I won't say it's the best worst. I think it's the best. I think it's so good. It's so fun. It's so easy to watch. It was my pandemic, uh, what's the word? Binge. My
Yeah,
pandemic binge was Tipping Point.
because there's that, and then there's also I don't know why I love Tenable. I'm rubbish at it, but I also love it. The one with Roy
Yeah,
Bailey.
that's harder, isn't it?
Yeah, it's impossible. It's like
I did,
pointless.
yeah, I did Pointless. I was on Pointless on the last series on Pointless Celebrities. Quite right. And we actually won, which was amazing. But the only reason I won was because I was on with another comic called Nathan Caton, and he knows loads about football. So he had a football pointless answer for the bit right at the end. But that was quite hard and quite exciting. But yeah, that was on a little while ago. But yeah, doing those sorts of shows is really fun.
Yeah, I was say, is it because you've been on quite a lot of TV shows now, and you're like, are there any that you like? You've been on Jonathan Ross, that's like one of the big ones in the UK.
Yeah,
That's up there, probably top tier.
yeah, it is.
Um,
Yeah.
are there any other shows that you really want to get on at the moment?
I mean, I would love to do Graham Norton because I love Graham and I love talk shows. So it'd be an absolute dream to do Graham Norton. I'd also love to do Would I Lie to You? I've never done that. And I think that's a great show. And I'd love to do Taskmaster. So maybe at some point over the next couple of years, I'll get to do one of those.
Yeah, I would love to see you on Taskmaster. It is one of
Yeah,
the greatest comedy shows ever.
it's so great. And I know Alex and Greg a bit from the comedy circuit, and yeah, it's a brilliant show, and every series is fantastic. So yeah, I would love to do that maybe one day. It's on the
Yeah,
list
I think one of the great things about that is it always exposes you to new comics as well, or people that
for
you've not really
sure.
heard of too much. And you're like, actually, now I love them. It's
Yeah,
great for that.
absolutely. brilliant, and there's so many fantastic comics working at the minute. That it's great that there are a lot of telly shows that we can get on. There's there's loads on Dave, and there's loads on Comedy Central, and then obviously there's stuff on the bigger channels. It is just a thrill to sort of do all those shows and to get them to do them with mates. Like, last time I did Hypothetical, which is a show for Dave hosted by Josh Widdicombe and James Acaster, I was on it with Tom Allen, who's one of my best friends, and Desiree Birch and Sophie Duker, who are two of my friends as well. So it's like, oh, I'm going to work today to like mess about with my friends. This is great. This is great. How am I getting away with this being a job?
True. I was asked about that, because with the latest one you did for Dave, the Comedy Life to Dating.
Yes.
Did you get to put forward comedians that were on it? Because I know Joe Wells, and I know Joe Wells. So did you get to put him forward for that?
No, do you know what? I didn't have anything to do with any of that, but I do know Joe Wells, and I think he's brilliant, and I love him. He's a great guy. But no, I didn't. That was very much the BBC sort of. I think it was across the BBC and Dave. It was BBC Studios for Dave, and I think they just went and looked at all the new acts that are coming through on the circuit at the minute, and tried to give as many as possible. It's really useful to have like good clips these days, to put out on your socials so that people can sort of see what you do. And so it was great that Dave gave lots of people the opportunity to like get that clip.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. No, I thought you might have had a chance to put people forward.
I know I would have though, because I do love Joe.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I love Joe. He's amazing. Because I know you played his comedy show, his comedy club, a few years ago, Boutique Comedy.
Yeah.
And
it was quite a few years ago, but Joe and I know each other because about 10, maybe not as many as 10, maybe 10 years ago. Yeah, maybe 10 years ago, we did a show in Edinburgh together called The Lunchtime Club, which was a compilation show of new stand-ups. And it was me, him, Finn Taylor, a guy called John Kearns, who's a very celebrated stand-up who's won all the awards.
He's on
and he's on Guessable.
That's the one, yeah.
He's on Guessable. And another comic called Max Dickens, and we did a show every day of the month. So I got to know Joe really well, and obviously we're both from Pompey, so that's good.
Yeah, I thought that's how the connection would be. On the note of Pompey, this radio station is Southampton. I do have to say that for legal reasons.
I'm sorry. My brother used to live there, so I like it.
I mean, I'm from Portsmouth, work in Southampton, live in Fareham. I mean,
you're doing a bit of all of it, okay?
Yeah, I'm just stuck in the middle. But there was one article that I saw in the news. I know you put up the other day that you were in the news and like your mum was really proud of that, which is amazing because that's the sort of thing my mum would definitely do. She's like, look, it's your name. You're in the paper. You like even more so than Jonathan Ross. She'd be like, you're in the local paper. Like, but Jonathan Ross. But there was an article which I don't want to have a go at the news about, but I kind of do. There was the top 31 celebrities from Portsmouth.
Okay.
Number 1 was Ant Middleton.
Right.
Matt Edmondson is in the list twice.
Ha!
And number 2, if you can work out who number 2 was, I will generally give you all the money in my bank account. Because
is there a clue? Can you give me a clue?
Only clue I could think would massively give it away because he's not from Portsmouth. He's not even from the UK.
Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I don't want to give you all my money, but yes.
Because he briefly lived here or something.
Yeah, literally, he went to the gym a few times. They're like, yes, number 2. He was the number 2 celebrity from Portsmouth. Which
hilarious.
I was like, can we claim that? Like,
I don't know that we can, but it's funny that we're trying to.
I was like, yeah, and like, so Matt Edmondson did it twice. You weren't on it at all. There was like Mike Wozniak wasn't on it. I was like, where are all the comedians at?
Oh, I love Mike Wozniak. He's amazing.
Yeah, he does have the world's greatest tash.
He really does. It's true.
This looks like
he really does.
One thing I did want to ask. Obviously, as a comedian, you do an awful lot of traveling,
yes.
Whether it's cars or train or whatever. What do you listen to? Because obviously, you do your own podcast. You've got out your podcast, and you also got Like-Minded Friends with Tom Allen. So, do you listen to podcasts whilst driving, or are you playlists, or are you radio? What's your kind of go-to?
So it depends what time it is. So if it's in the morning and I've got to get somewhere, then I'll have on Radio 2 as Ogle. Love Radio 2 as Ogle, and I love Sarah Cox on an evening. on and up, like, you know, 5 till 7. And then I listen to a lot of podcasts. So I listen to a lot of my friends' podcasts.
Yeah.
So Lockdown Parenting Hell, Off Menu, and then I listen to lots of podcasts about murder, which is really depressing and often a bit scary when you're a woman driving around the country by herself. You're like, why am I listening to this? I've just listened to one about the Battersea poltergeist. I mean, I'm never sleeping again. I mean, that's just about poltergeists, which I don't know why I'm listening to it. It's absolutely horrifying. But yeah, more, I guess, less comedy stuff and more sort of interesting stuff and things about, because I guess it's a bit of a busman's holiday sometimes listening to the very comedy ones, but I do enjoy Lockdown Parenting Hell and Off Menu because the guests are always so fun. But yeah, a mixture of stuff. And then I've got a couple of playlists, but yeah, I guess I listen to podcasts more.
Makes sense.
Mm.
So what can we expect from this show on Friday at the Theatre Royal? Kind of what's the sort of vibe with this one?
So it's all about, I mean, it's about sort of positivity. It's about, I guess it's where I am in my life right now. I want people to come out and just have a really good laugh. I think we've all had a really weird 18 months. Some of us have, it must, you know, been really terrible for some people, and others like me, you know, lucky enough to have a nice home to lock down in and a partner, and, you know, I've managed to carry on working. But it's just a show that is fun, uplifting, sort of talking about where I am in my life right now, talking about you know, the things that I get to go up to, you've seen the tipping point routine, different things like that. So it's just an hour of stand-up. There's no real story about it. It's not really, I'm not like a political comedian, or there's a little bit of social politics, but it's just an hour and a bit of really funny stuff. And this is my penultimate tour show of this tour, and I've taken it all around the country. I've did it in Edinburgh 28 times, and then I think I've done it about another 50 odd times or 60 times around the country. I think I must be nearing 100, and I've played, and the show's been seen by like more than 10,000 people now, which is awesome. But it's a lot more than that now, actually. And it has been my best show to date, I think, for how many laughs there is, for how much people are enjoying it, for what people say to me after the show. So it's really exciting that I get to do like the last hurrah of this show in my hometown, and that it's sold really well. Just really chuffed, and like loads of my family are coming, and hopefully they'll have a really nice time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've loved every time I've seen you. I've loved you. It's been amazing as well.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, I love the fact, because obviously I'm from Portsmouth, so I love talking about Portsmouth, even though this is on Southampton. But then you did another comedy series, which was going back to your hometown and for a night out. The comedy tour bus. The comedy bus, yeah. Comedy bus. The only thing that you didn't go to when in Portsmouth was Ken's. Everyone goes to Ken's after a night out.
Oh, that's very true. That's very true. Everyone does go to Ken's.
Not for a choice. You just end up there.
No, you end up there. It's just where you go. It's just like a homing pigeon. No, we didn't go to Ken's, but we did get fish and chips after a very boozy night out. So that feels Pompey enough. Yeah,
it was close enough. I mean, upsettingly, the one place that I used to love in Portsmouth was the Reg, which is now Flats. But
oh yeah, I remember the Reg. You used to get like a card, and you'd get like, and all the drinks were so cheap. And like retrospectively, I'm like, that was so bad.
Yeah, teenagers. I think it was like £4 a pitcher for like 4 pints at one point.
Yeah, I mean, madness. But I mean, great times.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's absolutely lovely seeing you so well. And I like when I saw you on John Frost, and the fact that, because there are people from Portsmouth who are famous, but they don't tend to like mention it. Like it kind of just like a byproduct of, yeah. But you were like on John Frost going, yeah, Pompey, whatever. And the fact you said Pompey, I was like, yes.
Yeah, I'm Pompey through and through. I don't live there anymore. I live up in London now. It's much easier for work being up here. But yeah, I got a lot of love for the South Coast in my heart.
Yeah,
for sure.
No,
I'm really excited about coming home, and thanks for having me.
No, yeah, and so there's one other story I wanted to go, which I know you spoke about on Jonathan Ross, and I've seen it for a couple of times in your routine. Your proposal was like the greatest proposal story of all time.
Yeah, my mum ruined it. Alice asked my mum if she could propose. Mum said yeah, and then mum accidentally told me when she was drunk. I mean, it's a very funny story, but if you want to see me do an incredible act out of my mum being drunk, accidentally telling me that I was about to be proposed to, you'll have to come to the show, which is on Friday night at the new Theatre Royal.
And there we go. No, it's a truly heartwarming story, and I love the fact that you kind of turned it on its head when you found out. Instead of just being like, oh, you played with it, and the end of it is amazing, and I love the fact that that's where you went with it as well.
Oh, thanks very much.
But yeah, no, thank you so much for coming back on.
Absolute pleasure.
Absolutely love talking to you, Suzi. It's been wonderful, and see you Friday. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Take care, mate. All the best.
Thank you.
Bye.